Welcome to African Folktales Hub by Chris. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on your notification. People in Umudike village believed every child was born with a gift. Some were born strong. Some were born smart. Some were born lucky. But when Amina was born, people whispered that she was born cursed. Her mother died the same night she came into the world, and her father had died many years before that. So from her first breath, Amina belonged to no one. She grew up in the compound of her uncle, a poor farmer who already had many mouths to feed. Amina slept near the kitchen, ate last, and worked more than any child her age. She fetched water before sunrise, swept the compound, and followed goats through the bush until sunset. No one called her by her name. They called her the orphan girl. What made people fear her was not her poverty. It was her silence. Amina spoke very little to humans, but she often whispered into the grass. She bent down near rocks and talked softly near trees. Children once followed her and saw something that made them scream and run. A long green snake had lifted its head in front of her, not to bite, but to listen. From that day, the village mocked her. They said she was strange. They said snakes were her friends. They said she would bring trouble. But Amina only lowered her head and kept walking, because she knew a secret no one else knew yet. The snakes were not her curse, they were her protection. Amina discovered her gift the year she turned 8. It was during the dry season, when the land cracked and water became precious. She had gone deep into the bush to fetch firewood when she heard a soft hissing sound behind her. She froze, knowing one wrong move could mean death. Slowly, she turned around. A thick brown snake lay coiled near her foot, its eyes fixed on her. Amina wanted to scream, but no sound came out. Instead, something strange happened. She heard a voice in her head, calm and clear. Do not be afraid. Her hands shook as the snake lifted its head higher. Without knowing why, Amina whispered, "I will not hurt you." The snake's body relaxed. It slid away gently, brushing past her ankle like a friendly greeting. That night, Amina dreamed of snakes crawling around her without biting her. When she woke up, she understood something deep in her heart. She could hear them. After that day, snakes spoke to her often. They warned her of danger. They showed her safe paths in the forest. Once, they led her to a hidden stream when she was close to dying of thirst. Amina never told anyone. She knew people already feared her, but the village began to notice strange things. Snakes stopped biting people near Amina. Crops near her path grew healthier. Still, the elders said nothing good could come from a girl who spoke to snakes. Mockery turned into hatred, and hatred was waiting for the right moment to strike. The trouble began the day the royal python disappeared. Every year, the village chief offered food to the sacred python believed to protect Umudike. It lived near the old shrine and was never harmed. But one morning, the python was gone. In its place were broken calabashes and disturbed sand. Fear spread like fire. "This is a bad sign," the elder children whispered. Women cried. Men searched the forest. By evening, someone pointed a shaking finger at Amina. "It is the orphan girl," a man shouted. "She talks to snakes." She must have taken it. Amina stood in the middle of the square, dirty and tired, her small hands clenched. She tried to speak, but no one listened. Stones were thrown at her feet. Insults followed. "Witch! Snake wife!" The chief raised his staff. "Bring her tomorrow at sunrise," he ordered. "If she cannot return the python, she will be punished." That night, Amina did not sleep. She walked quietly into the forest, her heart pounding. She knelt on the ground and whispered into the darkness. "Please," she said softly, "I need your help." The grass moved. From every direction, snakes appeared. Big ones, small ones, old ones with scars. The forest listened as Amina cried, and the snakes answered. The oldest snake spoke last. Its scales were dull, its eyes wise. "The python was taken," it said, "but not by you." Amina's heart sank. "Who took it?" "Men from another land," the snake replied. "They want its skin for power." Amina stood up. She was afraid, but she did not turn back. Guided by the snakes, she walked all night. Thorns scratched her legs. Stones cut her feet. Still, she moved forward. At dawn, she reached a hunter's camp. The python lay weak inside a sack. Amina stepped forward before fear could stop her. She spoke words the hunters did not understand. The snakes rose behind her like living ropes. The mess screamed and ran, dropping everything. Amina freed the python and held its head gently. "You are safe now," she whispered. By sunrise, she returned to the village with the python alive. Silence fell. The same people who mocked her stepped back in fear. The chief dropped his staff. But Amina did not smile. She knew this was only the beginning. The elders gathered that same day. Some wanted Amina praised. Others wanted her chased away forever. Fear sat heavy in the air. "She is too powerful," one elder said. "Power brings destruction." The chief looked at Amina carefully. "Child," he said slowly, "where did your gift come from?" Amina lifted her head for the first time. Her voice was steady. "My mother was a guardian," she said. "She died protecting this land." Murmurs filled the square. That night, the snakes returned with a warning. "Your life will never be quiet," they told her. "But you will choose how it ends." Amina closed her eyes, ready to face her destiny. "If you approve this tone, pacing, and structure, reply continue, and I will deliver. After the python was returned, Umudike village did not become peaceful. Fear only changed its shape. People no longer threw stones at Amina, but they avoided her path. Mothers pulled their children away when she passed. Even her uncle warned her to stay far from his house. "She will bring trouble," he muttered. Amina spent more time in the forest, where she felt less alone. The snakes told her stories of the land, how rivers were born, how trees learned to stand tall, and how humans once listened before they forgot how. One evening, dark clouds gathered too fast. Rain did not fall. Instead, the wind screamed. Snakes slithered toward Amina in panic. "Something is wrong," they hissed. "The ground is angry." Before she could ask more, the earth shook. Trees cracked. Huts trembled. People screamed as the ground opened near the farms. A deep pit swallowed yams, goats, and tools. The elders cried out, "The land is cursed." They dragged Amina to the square again. "This is her doing." A woman shouted. Amina knelt and pressed her palms to the earth. She whispered words taught by the snakes. Slowly, the shaking stopped. Silence returned, but the elders did not thank her. Instead, they feared her more than ever. That night, the chief sent guards to watch Amina. He feared she might destroy the village if angered. Amina noticed the shadows following her and felt a tight pain in her chest. The snakes gathered around her quietly. "They plan to send you away," the old snake said. Beyond the red hills, Amina's eyes filled with tears. "If I leave, who will protect the land?" "The land will remember you," the snake replied. "But you must grow stronger." Before dawn, soldiers arrived. Without goodbye, Amina was pushed onto a dusty path leading far from Umudike. She walked alone, hungry and tired, until the land changed. The grass grew thin. The air felt heavy. She collapsed near a dry riverbed. That night, she dreamed of her mother. The woman stood wrapped in green light. "You were chosen," her mother said. "But choice brings pain." When Amina woke, a massive black snake rested beside her. "Follow me," it said. Amina stood. Even though her legs shook. She followed her destiny. The black snake led Amina into a hidden valley. Water flowed clear and cold. Flowers bloomed where nothing should grow. At the center stood an ancient woman with eyes like fire. "I am the keeper," the woman said. "Guardian of balance." Amina knelt. "Teach me." The keeper tested her for many days. Hunger, fear, loneliness. Amina passed them all, not with strength, but with kindness. She healed wounded snakes. She shared food with wild animals. At last, the keeper nodded. "You do not command snakes," she said. "You listen." Amina learned how to calm storms, heal poisoned land, and speak truth into broken hearts. Time passed differently there. When she finally returned, she was no longer a child. But Umudike was waiting, and it was burning. Smoke rose into the sky as Amina reached the village. Fields were ruined. Houses stood empty. People ran in fear. A strange chief ruled, now a man with cold eyes and armed guards. He had driven the elders away and taken the land by force. "He fears nothing," the snakes warned. "Except you." Amina stepped into the square calmly. "I have come home," she said. The new chief laughed. "Arrest her." Snakes rose from the ground like shadows. Guards dropped their weapons and fled. The chief fell to his knees. Amina did not harm him. She spoke only truth. "You took what was not yours. Leave." The ground shook beneath his feet. Terrified, he ran. The village was free. The people of Umudike gathered slowly. Shame filled their faces. The same mouths that once mocked her now trembled. "We were wrong," the chief said softly. Amina looked at them all. She felt no anger. "I do not rule," she said. "I protect." From that day, she became the silent guardian. She lived near the forest, walking between worlds human and wild. Children no longer feared snakes, and the land finally rested. The people of Dike gathered slowly. Shame filled their faces. The same mouths that once mocked her now trembled. "We were wrong," the chief said softly. Amina looked at them all. She felt no anger. "I do not rule," she said. "I protect." From that day, she became the silent guardian. She lived near the forest, walking between worlds human and wild. Children no longer feared snakes, and the land finally rested. Peace did not erase memory. Even as Dike healed, people still whispered Amina's name with caution. They respected her, but respect mixed with fear can easily turn sour. Amina felt it in the way conversation stopped when she passed and how doors closed softly behind her. She chose to live near the forest edge, where the snakes felt safe. Each morning, she walked the land, listening. The soil spoke of recovery. The rivers hummed again. Yet beneath the calm, the snakes sensed something crawling closer. Beyond the red hills, men prepare, the old snake warned. They hunt power. Amina's heart tightened. She knew such men. They did not listen. They only took. One evening, a wounded snake dragged itself to her feet. Its scales were burned. "Fire sticks," it hissed. "They come with fire." Amina knelt, tears filling her eyes as she healed it. Fire meant war. It meant death for forest and village alike. She went to the chief and elders. "They are coming," she said. "We must prepare." Some listened. Others doubted. "We have peace now," one elder argued. "Do not invite fear." Amina said nothing more. She had learned that truth does not always need agreement. That night, she stood alone under the stars, whispering into the grass. "Wake the guardians," she said. And deep beneath the earth, something ancient stirred. The invaders arrived at dawn. Armed men marched in lines, carrying fire sticks and sharp steel. Their leader wore charms around his neck and hunger in his eyes. "Give us the snake girl," he demanded, "or we burn everything." Fear swept through Dike. People ran. Children cried. Amina stepped forward before anyone could stop her. "I am here," she said calmly. The man laughed. "Good. You will show us your secrets." He raised his hand. Fire exploded into the air. Flames touched the forest edge. The ground answered. Snakes poured out, not attacking, but surrounding. The earth hardened under Amina's feet. Wind rose, knocking men backward. "You do not own this land," Amina said, her voice strong. "Leave now." The leader fired again. The shot never reached her. The ground swallowed it. Panic broke the invaders' courage. Some fled. Others dropped to their knees. Amina lifted her hand. "Go," she repeated. They ran. The fire died. The forest breathed. The people stared at her in awe, but Amina felt only sadness. Power always brought more enemies. And this would not be the last. After the attack, the elders bowed deeply before Amina. For the first time, their respect carried no fear. "Lead us," they said. Amina shook her head. "The land does not need a ruler. It needs listeners." She taught them what she could. How to treat the forest gently. How to watch the signs of the earth. How to live without greed. Children gathered around her. She told them stories, not of power, but of balance. She showed them snakes and taught them not to scream. Still, her nights were restless. She dreamed of cracking earth, of a snake made of stone, of a choice she could not avoid. One night, the keeper appeared in her dream again. "Your gift is reaching its end," the ancient woman said. "Not because it is weak, but because it must change." Amina woke shaking. The snakes confirmed it. "You will soon choose," they whispered. "Remain human, or become part of the land forever." Amina walked until sunrise, thinking. She loved the people, but she loved the land more. And the land was calling her home. The final sign came during the harvest festival. Music filled the air. Laughter returned to Dike. For once, Amina smiled freely. Then the ground cracked open at the old shrine. A stone serpent rose, ancient and massive, its eyes glowing like fire buried deep. The village froze in terror. "The balance is broken," the serpent thundered. "A guardian must seal it." Amina stepped forward, her heart calm. "I understand," she said. The serpent lowered its head. "Your life for the land." Tears flowed freely now. The people begged her to stop. "You owe us nothing." they cried. Amina turned to them gently. I owe everything. She knelt, pressing her palms to the earth one last time. The snakes gathered, forming a living circle around her. Green light wrapped her body. The ground closed. The serpent sank back into the earth. Silence followed. Amina was gone. But the land felt whole. Seasons passed. Dike thrived like never before. Crops grew tall. Rivers stayed full. Snakes protected paths and homes without fear. At the forest edge, a great tree grew where Amina had stood. Its roots spread wide, its leaves whispered softly in the wind. Children said if you listened closely, you could hear a woman's voice guiding you away from danger. No one mocked snakes again. No one mocked orphans. Because the village learned a truth that outlived Amina herself, those who listen to the world are often mocked first until the world reveals who they truly are. Years after Amina vanished into the earth, Dike became known as the village that never suffered drought. Travelers came from far places to see its green fields and calm forests. Some came with respect. Others came with questions. Where is your guardian? Strangers often asked. The elders would point to the great tree at the forest edge. She is there, they said. At night, hunters who lost their way claimed the snakes guided them home. Children bitten by fear found courage after hearing soft whispers in the wind. The land itself seemed alive, watchful, and kind. Yet not everyone believed the stories. A young boy named Sadiq laughed whenever Amina's name was mentioned. Stories for children, he said. Trees do not speak. One evening, Sadiq followed the forest path alone to prove his bravery. Darkness fell faster than he expected. Strange sounds surrounded him. Fear wrapped around his chest. Then he heard it. Turn left, he froze. A green snake slid across his path, calm and gentle. Do not run, the whisper said. Trembling, Sadiq obeyed. Step by step, the snake led him home. The next day, Sadiq knelt at the great tree and cried. From then on, no one doubted again. As time passed, the elders noticed something else. Children born in Dike began showing unusual kindness. They helped animals. They listened before speaking. They cared for the land as if it were family. The guardian is teaching them, the elders said. One season, heavy rains threatened to wash away the farms. Panic spread. But before fear could take root, the rain softened. The river stayed within its banks. That night, snakes gathered beneath the great tree, raising their heads in silent respect. She still watches, they hissed. Deep beneath the roots, Amina slept and listened. She no longer felt hunger or pain. She felt only balance. She was part of stone and soil, wind and water. Yet her heart remembered being human. She remembered loneliness. And she remembered love. The land whispered back. You chose well. Far away, the invaders who once fled Dike spoke of a cursed village guarded by spirits. Greed fought fear in their hearts. At last, a new leader rose cruel and desperate. We will destroy the tree, he declared. No tree can stop fire. They marched again, but when they reached the forest, their steps slowed. The ground grew heavy. Snakes blocked every path. Trees bent, but did not break. Fire would not light. Weapons rusted in their hands. A voice rose from everywhere and nowhere. This land is not yours. Terror crushed their courage. They ran without looking back, leaving offerings behind. The forest closed gently after them. Balance held. On the night of the longest moon, the elders gathered children around the great tree. They told Amina's story again, careful with every word. She was mocked, an elder said, because people feared what they did not understand. Another elder added, but she listened. And listening saved us all. The children pressed their hands to the tree's roots. They felt warmth. A small girl smiled. She is happy, she said. The wind rustled the leaves like laughter. The elders exchanged quiet glances. The gift had not ended. It had spread. One dry season, the snakes warned of a sickness moving through nearby villages. Fear returned, but not panic. The people of Dike prepared herbs, clean water, and shelter. They welcomed the sick instead of turning them away. Many recovered. Visitors asked, "Why do you help strangers?" The chief answered simply, "Because the land helped us first." That night, rain fell softly for the first time in months. Gratitude echoed through the soil. Years turned into decades. The elders grew old. New chiefs rose, each sworn beneath the great tree. Protect the land, they promised. Listen before taking, the promise held. Travelers began leaving gifts, calabashes, cloth, stories at the tree's roots. Not in fear, but in thanks. Snakes slept opally near homes, never harmed. Peace became habit, and habits became legacy. One evening, a woman in labor cried out near the forest edge. The birth was difficult. Fear returned like an old shadow. As the woman screamed, the wind grew still. A voice whispered through the room, "Breathe." The child was born strong and calm. A thin snake mark rested gently on the baby's wrist, like a blessing. The elders bowed their heads. "The guardian continues," they said. That child grew into a quiet listener, just as Amina once was. She spoke little, but understood much. Snakes followed her path without fear. When asked if she was the new guardian, she shook her head. "I am only learning," she said. Deep beneath the earth. Amina smiled. Stories of Umudik spread across the land. Some believed, some doubted, but none could deny its peace. Mockery faded into legend. The orphan girl who spoke to snakes became a lesson passed from mouth to mouth. Do not laugh at what you do not understand. Do not fear those who are different, and never ignore the quiet ones, because the world speaks softly and only listeners survive. To this day, when the wind moves through leaves and grass, elders say it carries a warning and a blessing. The land remembers kindness, the land rejects greed, and somewhere beneath roots and stone, Amina listens, no longer an orphan, no longer mocked, but forever a guardian. Moral: those the world mocks first are often the ones chosen to save it.